You're probably like the rest of us. You worked hard to build your stack, ounce by ounce. It's taken real sacrifice. You've skipped dinners out, tightened your spending, maybe even hustled side jobs just to grow your stack. And somewhere along the way, you probably had the same thought: why didn't I start this earlier? Here's what I had to learn and what changed everything for me. The wealthy don't just stack differently, they think and play the game differently and have a different set of rules. They're running a whole different playbook. They've got access to different options, different information, and that leads to very different results. That's how I earned 90 ounces of silver for free in 9 months. And that's why I believe this is one of the top 5 most important videos I've ever done in this channel. And I don't say that for clicks or views. I say that because so much of what we've been told is truth is actually the opposite of what the wealthy really do. The hard part is that it's tough to believe there's another way until you see it, until someone shows you. Today, that's exactly what I'm going to do. Yes, we'll talk metals, but more importantly, I'm going to pull back the curtain to show you how the wealthy really move and how the BS they feed us is designed to make your wealth journey harder, not easier. I know the stacking battle cry is if you don't hold it, you don't own it. But if I'd follow that blindly, I'd be 90 ounces or $3,200 poorer today. So stay with me and keep an open mind as I'm going to show you exactly how I earned those ounces and how you can start stacking in a smarter way. What is good, Stackers University? Let's tear down some mental barriers so you can maximize your wealth creation through stacking. The first real challenge I had to overcome was shifting my mindset about what stacking really means. I used to think of it purely as insurance, protection. My metals were there in case of a zombie apocalypse or Mad Max scenario. Stacking was my shield. But over time, I realized stacking isn't just about protection, it's also about prosperity. It's about using metals to grow, not just guard it. Now, let me be clear. This video isn't a flex video, and it's not some paid promotion, even though my experience with monetary metals has been absolutely amazing. And yes, I actually do recommend them. This video is deeper than that. This is a peek behind the curtain at how wealth is actually built using silver and gold, not just stored. This is the part the wealthy understand, but don't really talk about it, or at least not to us. And then let me tell you, the 90 ounces of silver I've earned so far is cool, but what I saw, what I learned, and what I now understand, that's the real prize and just might change how I buy and stack metals going forward. Let's start with the foundation. You have to have a 2-bucket strategy because if you don't understand this, you absolutely won't listen to the rest of what I have to say. And honestly, the rest of the video won't matter or make sense. As a stacker, you have to have at least 2 types of stacks or buckets. Bucket 1 is about preservation and protection. This is where most stackers live. This is what most stackers focus on. It's the Mad Max, dollar claps, bug out bag mentality. That's fine. You're stacking because you don't trust the system, and I get it. I've been there. We've all been there. That's survival mode. And sometimes survival mode is very necessary. But here's the question most folks don't ask: what happens if the world keeps going? What if the dollar doesn't collapse, at least not in our lifetime? There are big names out there, you know who they are, who have been sounding the alarm for decades. And one day they might be right. But what if they are not right while you're alive to benefit from it? More importantly, what if they are wrong? You're prepared for survival, but are you prepared for thriving? Are you prepared for wealth? This is why you need bucket number 2. Bucket 2 is your for profit, your prosperity, and your growth bucket. This is a major shift because this is the part most stackers never get to because they're stuck in fear, stuck in just in case mode. But this wealth bucket, this is where your metals and your knowledge of metal related assets go to work for you. Not just sitting in the safe waiting for a collapse, but actually producing yield, creating cash flow, providing leverage for other investments, and building prosperity while the system still does work. Think of it like this: if bucket 1 is your defense, bucket 2 is your offense. If bucket 1 is your bunker, bucket 2 is your business plan. Bucket 1 is your physical metals, your I'll never sell portion of your stack. Every stacker needs this. This is what allows you to sleep well at night. This is the if you don't hold it, you don't own it part of your strategy. It's where metals maintain your purchasing power and preserve your future. But bucket 2, that's how you grow wealth to actually improve the quality of your life. This is the foundation of how I earned 90 ounces of silver for free in 9 months. But bucket 2, that's how you grow your wealth to actually improve the quality of life. That's the foundation of how I earned the 90 ounces of silver. My metal didn't just sit there. It went to work and it grew my wealth. That's the play the wealthy understand. That's the game they're quietly running behind the scenes. So there are two major concepts that I preach over and over again that I want to remind you of. One, your wealth is measured in ounces, not dollars. And two, every dollar is an employee. And their job is to go out and get you more employees. The wealthy know this. They just conveniently forget to mention that whenever they're trying to scare you into the crisis of the day so that you'll click their affiliate link and stack more metal from them or their particular company. So that's the BS, the nonsense. They tell you one thing and do something completely different. They tell you to keep it in your home where you subject yourself to all kinds of risk of loss that are far more likely than what happens at a secure facility. I need you to see this. See how they try to play us at every stage. They see us as sheep and themselves as wolves. And out in the wilderness, you would never see a sheep take advice from a wolf. I'm going to walk you through one way of how this strategy actually works, how I built my two buckets, and how you can start thinking about stacking like the wealthy, not just like a prepper. About 9 months ago, I participated in Monetary Metals Silver Bond, which paid a 12% yield. I did a couple of videos on it back then, and I still remember the comments of people wishing me Godspeed, like I was headed into some wild, dangerous territory. And I get it. The idea sounded crazy to most folks, not because it was, but because no one has ever talked to us about this. Here's the truth. I first spoke to Monetary Metals about 3 years ago. And you know what I did? Nothing. I let fear do my decision making. The same fear we talked about earlier, the kind that keeps you stuck in bucket one. Now, fast forward to the silver bond. Yes, it was only for accredited investors, and I'll address that later on. But the terms were simple and powerful. I needed to lease a minimum of 1,000 ounces of silver to Bunker Hill Mining Company. In return, I would be paid 12% interest annually for 3 years, with the interest paid quarterly in physical silver held in a secure vault. Let me pause here because I already know that some of you are ready to jump in the comments with, you lease your silver, that's risky. If you don't hold it, you don't own it. Yeah, I know all that. We've talked about that. But let me remind you, my dollars and my metals are my employees, and their job is to go out and get me more employees. Too many of us are sitting on unemployed money, and I just can't have that. The silver you see on my desk right now, that's the 90 ounces I earned. I called up Monetary Metals and asked them for a physical delivery of the interest I'd earned, just so I could show you what's possible. And when I requested the payout, they offered me everything: maples, eagles, all the normal premium stuff. But what do you see here? Generics, no fluff, no premiums, no fancy coins, just weight, just ounces, because that is how wealth is measured. I wasn't about to spend any extra money to get name brand coins. Now let's run the numbers because they're really simple. I leased out 1,000 ounces almost a year ago when the spot price was right around $30. So I sent them $30,000 worth of silver. Now, today's silver is $36 an ounce. My original $1,000 stack has appreciated by $6,000, just like your $1,000 stack would have. But I have added 90 ounces of silver paid in interest. And so that's about $3,240. Another $30,000 will be coming in the next month or two, which is about $1,080. So total that up in 12 months, I will have 1,120 ounces of silver times $36 of silver. That equals $40,320. So I sent them $30,000 worth of silver. It's gone up to 36, but somehow my stack now is worth $40,320. My return, 34% return. That's appreciation and interest. And if silver dips, I still get paid in ounces. It's a win-win. As long as there's no zombie apocalypse and the world keeps turning, my biggest risk isn't the silver, it's the company. But that's why there's a legal contract that they're required to pay me, not Monetary Metals, but me directly. Now, think long term. There are 2 years left in this lease. And at this pace, I will earn another 240 ounces, totaling 360 extra ounces over 3 years for allowing them to use my silver. And if silver hits $100 an ounce, like some people are throwing out there, I will have made an extra $36,000 of real money. That's how the wealthy think. They don't run from risk, they manage it and they get paid for it. I'm trying to show you the real possibilities, how the wealthy actually play this game, that there are real ways for you to grow your wealth And it's not only by hiding your metals in your home because it makes you feel safe. Yes, there is risk. There's risk walking across the street. That doesn't mean you don't cross the street. You find the safest way to do it. While the talking heads and talking hands are out there yelling, if you don't hold it, you don't own it. Those at the top of the wealth ladder, they vault, they lease, they borrow off of it, they flip, they scale. Even Mike Maloney, yes, the man who coined the if you don't hold it phrase, keeps significant parts of his stack vaulted. I just don't want you to fall for the slogans. I want you to follow a strategy. And let me show you what I mean. Too many of us are playing the game at the wrong level. We're paying 10 to 15% premiums just for the right to be able to hold the silver in our hand. But when I redeem my interest from monetary metals, you want to guess what the premium is? 0.75%. That's wholesale pricing, fam. And guess what else? If you have an account with them and you want to buy more, it's 0.75% over the spot price. And if you want to sell, it's only 0.75% below the spot price. Monetary Metals isn't the only company that does that. So do your research. But the point I'm making is once you have bucket one taken care of, you have to be out there doing something different to grow your wealth. And why aren't we all buying at these ridiculously low premiums? If you're like me, I would guess it's because you didn't know or you were never exposed to or explored the idea because we were stuck in this if you don't hold it mantra. I'm being dead serious. I may never walk into another LCS again after experiencing these kind of premiums. And here's the best part. You don't need to be an accredited investor to participate in their other offerings. Their gold leases paying around 4% interest. You can look up UPMA, United Precious Metals Association. They have gold lease options as well. Money Metals Exchange and Rick Rule's upcoming Battle Bank both offer loans against your stack. You want to get into investment real estate or want to buy a cash flowing asset like a business or something, but you don't want to sell your metals? Use them as collateral. That's the level up. That is what the rich do. My point is there are options, but only if you start to think like the wealthy. Only if you stop letting slogans and emotion dictate your strategy. Because the game, it's not played equally. It's played differently at every level of wealth. I will tell you, as an accredited investor defined by the SEC, the opportunities available to me are nothing. I mean, nothing like what I was exposed to before. This is about choice. I'm not here to tell you what to do, but I will say this. If you want to live like others don't, you've got to do what others won't. Let me say that again. If you want to live like others don't, you got to do what others won't. And that starts with dropping the fear, questioning the old rules of wealth that we've been told and been passed down to us, and stepping into a wealth building journey on purpose. Your silver and your other metals are powerful, but if they're just sitting there doing nothing, you're leaving wealth on the table. I made my choice. I am choosing wealth creation, prosperity, and I'm choosing to play offense. And I hope you do too. In the comments, what's your strategy for building wealth with silver? Pure protection, or do you have a prosperity plan too? Have you ever considered leasing or using your metals for passive income? Are you willing to give up some control to gain some growth? Or just put an A plus in the comments if you've learned something, appreciate the content, or if you just want everyone to know that you always stack smarter and never stop learning.